So get ready to pay up. More and more states hiking taxes. So get ready to pay up. More and more states hiking taxes on all kinds of stuff. Gas, sodas, junk food, even music. They're trying to raise money. But as the tax man makes you dig deeper in your pockets, will we just dig into a deeper recession? Mike Papantonio joins the debate.
Brendan,
but first, I'm great, and I know the guys are glad to see you. First, Gary V., you say now's the time to cut taxes, not hike them, huh?
Absolutely. Look, there's most of the, I'd say 99% of the people out there, maybe except for Mike, I'm sure, who's wealthy, are feeling the pinch right now. You start raising taxes across the board, you're going to have even bigger problems. You know, the problem is twofold with these states. One, they got addicted to having high revenues, high property taxes, et cetera, in the flush times. And two, what's the most heavily unionized industry in the country? Government. So you have an employee population there that refuses to budge on salary concessions. You have a state governments that are addicted to spending. Who gets the hurt? It's the people living in those states.
I have to hold Mike back. You go right in there.
Brenda, I got to tell you, no surprises at all from Gary there. Wall Streeters have a one-dog, one-speed analysis of taxes. Every time the topic comes up, you know, Grover Norquist, the Steve Moore and their paranoid frenzy no-tax crowd should start a no-tax whiners club, a no-tax whiners support group where they can have a 12-step program that tells them democracy requires a tax infrastructure. Most states are running out of money. They have a patch and pray kind of infrastructure. Schools are closing, bridges are crumbling, roads are crumbling. And Gary here says, no, we don't need to raise taxes. You know, it's the same formula that the conservative, fiscal conservatives used to bankrupt the federal system. Now they want to bankrupt states like Alabama and California and Florida and Massachusetts, Kentucky, where they're saying we don't even have enough money to pay for our roads. But that sounds good to the fiscal conservatives like Gary here, who only knows one pitch.
Well, Toby, come on. Go after it.
Well, I love having Mike on here because I never get so many messages on my Facebook page until he's on. Now, look, here's a couple things. First off, as a native Californian, I can tell you that California has done just great in bankrupting themselves, Mike, and to indicate the idea that California hasn't screwed themselves by raising their expenditures 2 times over their revenue is insane, number one. Number two, what Gary really is saying is if you wanted to have this economy take off like a rocket, if we cut taxes on the people who take risk and cut taxes on the people who invest capital, we wouldn't need these bailouts. And that's the fact of the matter.
We've heard this so many years. It's the same story. Look,
you know,
but maybe it's the same story because it's true, Mike.
Maybe it's because it works.
No, let me tell you, there's another side to it. Fiscal conservatives don't care about infrastructure. They have their gated communities where they don't have to worry about schools. They don't have to worry about roads. That's for everybody else to worry about, not the gated community.
Okay, now wait a minute. I know Eric doesn't live in a gated community, but you listen to me. You don't have to hike taxes, right? You can cut spending.
How about cutting spending? We have a governor here in New York that wants to raise taxes on 137 products, cab rides, iTunes downloads, diet soda, and then he applied for a bigger budget. How about cut your spending?
Tell Jefferson County, Alabama, that you don't have to hike taxes.
Okay,
to spend.
You know, I got to let
California that you don't have to hike taxes, or Massachusetts.
You guys, this happens every time.
No, it's not.
Quiet.
No, it doesn't.
Guys, no dessert if you talk over each other. I already told you that. Pat, the good boy, you come in here and tell them what's going on.
Well, the issue more than anything else has been alluded to, which is that in many cases public employees have benefits that would put the UAW to shame. And that's really the big issue, is that because that's the most reliable voting base, if you're a politician, is the folks who already are in the government. They're the folks who you least want to disappoint and you most want to please. So when times are good, you increase their pension benefits, you increase their health care benefits, which never come back down again. And so it's political suicide to anger these people, so it never happens. But that's really where I think a lot of the fat needs to get cut out. It's not fewer cops on the beat. It's not fewer firemen. It's not fewer roads. It's, you know, pensions and benefits for public servants that reflect what's the reality in the private sector and that aren't, you know, padded the way, say, they are in many cases.
So it's more systemic is what you're saying, basically, Pat. Gary B., what do you say to that?
Yes.
Well, yes. I mean, Pat just expanded on my point about the unionized employees. And, back to Mike's point, about the crumbling infrastructure and stuff like this. Yes, there's bridges and roads that need to be repaired. But Mike might want to do his homework. Actually, states and, local governments now spend a higher percentage of their GDP on infrastructure than they did in the 80s and 90s. So this whining about giving money to dog parks and things like that is silly. And the other point is, Mike, big taxes as a percentage of our GDP. Geez, you know what? We went along about the first 200 years of our country without those big taxes, and we did pretty well. It wasn't until the era of big government that it's hit the little guy.
Okay, all right, Mike, you got 15 seconds, all right?
Let me talk your Wall Street game. You're a conservative, let's say you're a conservative investor, you want to put your money somewhere, maybe municipal bonds. Are you going to put it in a state that wants to resist raising taxes and at the same time tells you that they don't even have enough money to pay for their fire department? So it goes way beyond the infrastructure issue. You know that. You know what's happening with municipal bonds right now because people are a little freaked out when they hear about California and Jefferson County, Alabama, going bankrupt.
Okay.
There's more
brought
to the story.
It on themselves, Mike. They brought it on themselves.
Okay, you know what?
Is this Grover Norquist I'm talking to or Steve Moore?
So get ready to pay up. More and more states hiking taxes on all kinds of stuff. Gas, sodas, junk food, even music. They're trying to raise money. But as the tax man